I'll send you the link, Mark, dito.
Same page pa rin, ano?
Same pa rin. Sino na sa Pugad vloggers ngayon?
Kami kanina, nila Attorney Trixie.
Talaga? Sorry babad ka tuloy ngayon.
No problem.
Thanks, man. Grabe si Franco, no? COVID ba yun?
Yeah.
Shit. He's everywhere rin kasi, no? Dami rin siyang mga kausap, eh. Ayan, sent you the link, Mark.
Alive na.
Live na siya. So you were out of town?
Yeah.
Over the weekend? Nice. For the OTR?
Ano yon, yung sa Palawan, yung tatlong ports they inaugurated and they invited me. Kaya hindi ako nakapag-live kasi walang signal. Kainis nga eh.
Sayang, no?
Doon sa El Nido.
Fresh update sana yun. If signal, ganda sana.
May signal sana dun sa Coast Guard na MRRB na vessel pero masyadong malayo siya from the event
Okay. Alright. Pwede na.
Alright. Go.
Let's do this. Alright guys, good evening. Welcome to Istoryang Futbolero. Okay ka lang, Mark. Ay, naka. Welcome to the show. My name's Ron Poblete. Tonight's special guest, actually, ano na to si Mark eh. Ating honorary futbolero, Mark Lopez, with us tonight on a Monday. Mark, welcome.
Hi. Good evening, Ron. Good evening po mga footballeros there dyan sa social media and sa cyberspace. Magandang gabi po sa inyong lahat. Sa mga nandun po sa aking page na nanonood ngayon, welcome back.
Yun, no nga Mark, ngayon ko lang na-realize na meron ka palang Pugad vloggers earlier with Attorney Trixie.
Yes, Attorney Trixie and Doc Ethel. Kaming tatlo yung magkakasama kanina.
Sayang, hindi ko napanood. Hindi ko alam na ano ka pala. On board ka pala sa Pugad vloggers. Tsaka, salamat Mark for taking time. Alam ko, you've been very busy the last few weeks. You've been doing so many things. Tapos, ngayon you found time talaga to join us on Istoryang Futbolero.
Alam mo naman pagka Istoryang Futbolero, pagka kayo nila Mikel, nila Eric, alam niyo naman na I am always excited to join the show. Lalo na kung may pasabog ba tayo ngayon?
Pwede. Sayang si Mark, si Eric tsaka si Mikel they wanted to join us sana. Kaso lang, alam mo naman lately, sobrang yung mga negosyante sa atin ay talagang ngarag. At sila ay sobrang itong mga developments, lalong-lalo na sa number of cases ng COVID ay dumadami. In the last week ba, Mark, tumaas yung ating cases of COVID?
Today is the all-time high. Today is 2019.
2019. And
Okay. Yeah.
uh, we can't help but also um, notice, Mark, na dahil medyo nagkakaproblema ang gobyerno ngayon at very alarming yung numbers, ay this feeds on to the storyline of the opposition na, na parang, di ba?
Oh,
Parang enjoy sila ngayon.
maybe this could be the best thing that could happen that could have happened sa opposition. Because I've been saying this the past few days. The opposition will really be all out now, all out in
Mm,
terms of trying to really to disparage and to to destroy the administration dahil now being election season, we are now
yeah.
into the election season. They cannot afford the government to look good because that will be the end of all their dreams and aspirations of going back or getting back into power. Kaya expect really the opposition to really go all out now,
Mm.
starting now.
Take,
And they have
take advantage. Mm.
they have started already. They have started with their sa bagay, in the last 5 years naman, hindi naman sila huminto, no? And
Oo, tuloy-tuloy naman yan. Wala namang pinagbago actually.
oh,
Wait,
I mean, even the president himself did not have his usual 100-day honeymoon period. Pagkaupo pa lang niya is he's already been like the center of non-stop, relentless attacks.
yes.
And ewan ko, kasi the more they attack him, the more he has become di ba, strong and solid.
Yeah. Yeah, parang hindi talaga sila nadala no sa kanilang mga past experience of trying to derail the government. In the last 5 years, they haven't been really successful, but still, they seem to go for the same tactics, strategies, no, against the government. As a matter of fact, Mark, I think more than ever, they were able to convince some of their financiers in this period to really, fund some of these these
Well,
these
uh,
attacks.
well, just recently they launched another platform, no? Or I don't know if ang term nila is it is another non-governmental organization.
Mm.
But really,
Si 1SAMBAYAN ba to?
yung 1SAMBAYAN.
Sambayan. Si 1SAMBAYAN.
Oh, 1SAMBAYAN. Kasi
Mm.
wala, same pwede ko ba sabihin dito na same
Same, same
same
ano,
SHI, bahala na kayo.
same shit. Yeah, medyo napansin ko na rin ngayon, Mark, yung cast of characters nung kanilang bagong product after all these different iterations of the opposition, no? From the Yellow Army to yung
Diba?
Tindig
Nag-start
Pilipinas.
sila, Liberal Party, Tindig Pilipinas, meron
Mm.
pa yung isa, ano pa yung isa? Parang M,
Meron
nag-umpisa sa M. Movement Against Tyranny.
Oh, yun, Movement Against
Oo.
Tyranny.
Mat
Meron pa
muna
sila,
bago Tindig, di ba? Yan.
meron pa silang movie version, meron silang Philippine version ng Hunger Games na mga senyales, na mga hand
May
gestures.
ano pa sila, di ba? Well, ewan ko but yun nga, I mean, no matter how much they try to relabel themselves, they're still the same shit. And
But,
the thing is, in the last 5 years, they really do not have anything new to offer.
yeah, nothing really new.
Plus,
I think,
I mean, instead of getting better or instead of providing us or even offering us new faces or new ideas, I mean, radical ideas, out of the box ideas,
But I think they follow that line of thought, or the idea of having talking heads that are popular or are in the public's eye. Kagaya ng mga former beauty queens, um, yung, diba?
Well, ang problema sa ganyan, and it has been proven in the last 5 years, if they recruit somebody who's popular, ang problema, hindi naman natatangin ng popularity nung tao or nung influencer na kinuha nila eh. As a matter of fact, the result is the other way around. Ang nawawala ng popularity yung influencer na sumama sa kanila. Alam mo yun?
Pinaka-latest nila si Ellie Buendia.
Yeah. Di ba? Oh. I mean, ewan ko, parang di ba? I mean, parang kang pag nakipag-allied ka, or if you have made an effort to identify yourselves with this bunch of wala, prepare yourself to be lumped with them as losers din, dahil that's it. That will be your di ba, nakita mo yung isang influencer na nagkamali kasi siya na yung page nung hinahandle niyang isang politiko, lumabas yung mukha niya accidentally. Ayan tuloy.
Ito ba yung kay Remulla, Mark?
Oo, diba? Yung si Governor Auntie Julie.
Natawa ko dun, sobrang lame ng mga excuses niya. Ano yung sabi niya?
Una sabi niya parang we were on a test broadcast. Nagulat sila bakit biglang pumasok do sa page ni Governor do.
Anong pangalan ng PR guy na to? Ano siya, diba? Parang
si McCoy Dubs.
McCoy Dubs. So ano siya, influencer or PR?
Well, he was a social media. He was a rising social media star until he revealed or he professed his political leaning. Wala. Doon siya sa doon siya pala gusto niya ma-identify sa mga woke.
Hindi, alam mo ang aking theory dyan, Mark, is kasi lahat naman yung mga nangyayari to us politically sa ating bansa, believe it or not, they're all echo chambers. Even the DDS is just an huge.
I agree.
Almost millions of people are actually listening to the same group of people, and then they basically get the same messages from all these supporters of the president. And at a smaller extent, yung ating mga dilawan, ganun din nangyayari. Yeah. But the thing is, what makes it alluring for people like McCoy Dubs is he feels that the people from that side come from his clique, yung kanilang echo chamber, kasi karamihan diyan mga pasosyal, mga pawok, mga pa-elitista. Yeah. So every time they see something that sort of like stimulates conversation from that group or gives them the attention. Kasi syempre, alam mo naman yung mga yan, they ride on anything negative that they say about the government. So once they get that attention, parang parang droga yan sa kanila eh. Tingin nila, sobrang dami nila. At talagang they really ramp up the attacks, even though there are just really a few of them enjoying each other's company. Sila lang yung nagbobolahan dyan eh.
Yeah, I would have to agree on that na, I mean, pare-pareho naman tayo, and like them, we also have our own parang yun nga, echo chamber, and nagre-revolve lang yung ating circle within the same but the thing is, like sa atin, like for instance ako personally, I am not really fond of even trying to block people from my page. Right. For as long as I can determine that they are real people. Because there's a big difference between, a person trying to engage with you na who disagrees with you. I would really want to encourage people to disagree with me and to not tolerate what I say na as is gospel truth. I mean, I want to be challenged as well.
Sure.
And that on that level kasi I would have to be the first to stipulate that I am not perfect. I am expressing my opinion, and it's actually an opinion based on my personal sentiment, my experience, and what I am seeing in my lens, 'di ba? Now, of course, you can challenge me. You can always question what I said, what I posted. But you have to be real. You have to be somebody. I mean, you have to have a face. You have to have
Yeah.
a name.
Kasi I know what you mean, Mark.
Otherwise, if you're going to challenge me, or not even challenge me, but just troll me, yung ad hominem kagad or atake kagad sa itsura ko or sa meron ka kagad banat na personal without alam ko naman na hindi mo naman ako kilala pero upakan mo ko on a personal level before ayoko talaga man-block before. I don't want to. But nitong mga medyo alam mo, siguro nagkakaedad na rin tayo.
Pero justifiable naman yung yung kumbaga yung tendency mo to block certain types of commentators or yung mga tao na nagre-respond na nag-engage sa iyong Facebook page. Hindi mo maiwasan to also observe na marami rin dyan talaga na disruptor lang ang purpose. Ang kanilang role from whatever group they come from is to disrupt yung engagement and also the conversation. Kasi if you look into their accounts, kasi pwede mong tingnan yung yung about nila, 'di ba? Kung sino tong tao na to.
Yeah.
Based sa number of friends pa lang nila, alam mo na agad na bago lang ginawa yung account, gusto lang nilang manggulo. Tapos yung kanilang profile picture is not really their own profile picture. It's either they picked it up from someone else's, or it's like anime or some crazy shit photo of something that they like.
They have become more sophisticated. Ang napapansin ko is that they actually use accounts, legitimate accounts. But what I feel, itong mga accounts na ito are inactive accounts. I mean, they have been created long ago. Okay. They have been created long ago and they are not being used, or probably kumuha ng panibagong account, yung person. Tapos naging dormant lang yung account. No? Yeah, so walang activity. And then all of a sudden, papasok sa page ko, all of a sudden, titira ng alanganin. And you would know naman that they're not really there for engagement, but to trigger you. Trigger you to react. Tapos, pag nag-react na, may engagement na sila. Now, pag may engagement na sila with you, papasok na yung ibang kasama nila na, eto na. Totoo naman, yung si Mark Lopez, bayaran naman talaga yan Gagano na. So, makikita mo, tinatrap ka nila into engaging.
Yes.
And somehow, yan yung makikita mo na talagang yun ang nila, yun ang kanilang parang SOP, yun ang kanilang training na i-trigger ka, tapos i-engage ka hanggang to the point na alam mo, ang rin doon, ang isang gusto nilang mangyari is to penetrate your account. To penetrate your account, to be kumbaga constant in your newsfeed para na monitor ka.
Yeah, totoo. It's either that, Mark, they have like I guess it can be the same group of people who are doing this, like for example kay Jam Magno. Merong group talaga that they mass report certain bloggers and for the sole purpose of making sure that you get deactivated or suspended for like a few days or a few weeks. Same thing that happened to our good friend si MJ Kiambao nabalik na ba yung account niya, Mark? Hindi pa.
I think hindi pa, no? I mean,
Hindi pa rin.
marami. Ako, recently, underwent a 3-day suspension. And
Mm.
nakakaano nga itong mga to eh, napaka, ano nila eh, no? Galing nila. Minsan, mag-send yan ng mga friend request, mga sexy na mga babae, mga naka-bikini, di ba? Ilulure ka talaga eh. Akala nila kasi yun ang weakness ko, no?
Pero yun yung telltale sign, Mark, no, na talagang organized tong grupo na to at talagang meron silang um, organization that actually just handles these types of things.
Yeah.
Siguro yung
Troll farm
opposition,
talaga yan.
may troll farm talaga silang ginagamit, no.
Oo.
And it's funny they use this they accuse the supporters of the president being that way because they know for a fact that that's what they do. Parang tinatry nila mirror yung kung ano yung ginagawa rin nilang accusation sa mga supporters ni presidente na sa tingin ko troll farm din itong mga to eh. Pero alam naman nilang hindi. Pero ganun kasi ginagawa nila, so gusto nila yun ang ibato sa atin, sa mga supporters ni presidente.
Yeah. True.
May mga
Tapos, yung mga rabid sa kanila, yung mga marurunong sumagot, pansinin mo, yun naman yung mga walang personality ng kanilang mga social media accounts. Yun yung mga talaga nagtatago. Under the anime character or walang picture. Pero makikita mo, may mga litrato sila nung recent rally nung 1SAMBAYAN, may litrato nung recent ng mga yung quote card ni Madam, di ba? So, yun, alam mo na, itong mga ito yung kanilang mga troll masters.
ito sigurado. Yeah, go ahead, Mark.
I mean, that would really be, lalo ngayon, that would be more pronounced. They will be more active than ever. And I believe one of the things that they will really do is, to disrupt social media in such a way that even yung mga pro-government supporters, deactivate nila. Ang end game nila dyan will be to suspend or even work to deactivate the accounts, which will be the worst thing that could happen to a pro-administration supporter pag na-deactivate yung account mo.
Well,
pero yan ang gagawin nila.
So tingin mo, I don't know, for the next year and a half, Mark, I think the effort will be, or the resources or the money that's going to pour in will be devoted to that. I think they may have like a 50 to 100.
Yeah, they have well, the thing is they have the upper hand insofar as, the main platform itself, Facebook, is somehow sympathizes with them or is aligned with them. Kaya it's going to be very difficult for the pro-government supporters dahil may handicap na kagad.
Yeah.
But anyway, I don't know. Kasi lakas din ng loob nito mga to. Even government sites, they are trying to pin to attack and also to push to be deleted or to be deactivated. Kahit mga government pages, that is already like tantamount to you disrupting government activities, programs. Mahirap yan. And alam mo, isang playbook nilang gagawin ngayon is what they did to the United States government of Trump. That even Trump himself, he was banned on social media, di ba? Para siya mismo tinanggal yung Twitter account niya which has about 80 million following, and that's a big blow to Trump dahil nawalan siya ng platform.
Yeah.
And that's the ironic part of it, Ron. The irony of it all is so grabe, so blatant na imagine these are the people who are fighting for democracy and human rights, tapos ang gagawin ang gusto nila wala ka sa mundo. Diba?
Sila yung gumagawa ng paraan na kaya tama yung sabi ni Mayor Sara nung nagkomento siya recently about the 1SAMBAYAN being sort of authoritative or authoritarian yung kanilang nature kasi they themselves just by their statements alone you can tell that for them it's about you siding with them. If you have an opposing view, we will cut you off right there and then, 'di ba? Parang ganun yung minumungkahi ng
Eh,
mga tao.
they were trying to advocate, di ba, unity, democracy. Tapos, nung tinanong Isara and Pacquiao included, well, no, we will not include them. Parang, and I mean, who appointed former Associate Justice Antonio Carpio as the anointed person, 'di ba? Who appointed him to be the kingmaker? Who said he is the authority when it comes to selecting our next batch of leaders? Parang labo naman. Tapos you will exclude Sara Duterte and Manny Pacquiao and tapos ang ibibigay mo sa amin choice si Nancy Binay tsaka si Grace Bo,
Tsaka
tsaka
yung
Lenny Robredo.
yung mga BINAY Mark biglang nagsilabasan bigla. Yung pinaka-latest na madaldal ngayon si former Vice President Jojomar
Patriarch.
BINAY.
The Patriarch. Hindi natin alam kung anong may team na balak niyang
Sumasawsaw na naman. Parang bitter yata yung lolo. Dahil masaklap yung pagkatalo niya noong 2016. Ngayon lang yata siya magkakaroon ng pagkakataon para bumawi kay President Duterte.
Pero ito ang niyo yan. Ito ang tingnan niyo diyan mga kababayan. Everybody who's watching now. Why is it that Jejomar Binay, without any portfolio at all, he's an ex-government official. Yes. Wala naman siyang, if you look at it, wala naman siyang relevance ngayon.
Wala.
No matter what he says or do, kung may gagawin man siya, siguro it's a private endeavor. And yet, he is all over the news. Di ba? Parang, ano to?
Di ba? We can say the same thing, Mark, with Antonio Trillanes, who's been a citizen.
Actually, I would even stipulate, see our sitting vice president. Our sitting vice president, the only role that she has right now is to wait and to really wait what would happen to the president and she takes over, di ba? But insofar as activities are concerned, insofar as doing, if you look at other vice presidents in other countries, di ba? Hindi naman yan laman ng newspapers every day. Hindi yan magiging headline fodder, hindi yan magiging banner, hindi yan, walang mga quote cards yan. And yet, itong vice president natin, kompleto sa quote card, ang bilis ng press release, tapos pare-pareho naman ng content. Whether you are Manila Bulletin, whether you are Newscribe, whether you are Inquirer, iisa yung pinaparot nilang linya ni Madam Vice President, di ba? Isa yung si Jojo Binay, isa yung sinabi, lahat carried out by the mainstream, which is, if you look at it or if you have a parang basic journalism di ba, perspective, journalism 101, why are they in the news? Unless, of course, di ba? Unless.
Magandang tanong yan, Mark. Kasi it stipulates certain things that are happening behind the scenes. Kasi first of all, somebody like Trillanes, somebody like Binay, who are obvious, in no way relevant to the current political landscape. Wala naman silang role na piniplay, but still they're all over. They're always like in sound bites, and their faces are plastered all over. The questions that you ask yourself is, bakit ba sila lumalabas sa balita? First reason could be the mainstream media or the editors enjoy this ongoing engagement that's happening because you have like people from the opposition eliciting reaction from a large number of people who support the government. So that's obvious na talagang nagkakaroon ng engagement yung mga social media pages ng mga news, mga broadsheets ng itong mga news outlets na to. Second, Mark, is I'm not saying all of them, no? But hindi naman natin pwedeng i-deny na may mga certain characters within the mainstream media who are envelopmental ang kanilang kalakaran. Na if you just hand them a certain amount, they'll give you the platform so you can be heard.
Well,
And if the opposition,
let's
yes.
face it, Ron. It is really that the last one you said, which is prevalent or prevailing. Kasi again, the question is, di ba, like even if Lenny Robredo would say something ngayon, if that is not really earth-shaking or groundbreaking or paradigm shifting, why would it even be published? I mean, sinong editor in his right mind or proper training would publish ang iyong I mean, why would you give front page space banner to somebody who just said iyong? 'Di ba? Pero
Tapos
kung
ano
yan, I mean kung yan
Ah.
naging di ba? I mean, the Vice President in her effort to make suggestions went to Malacanang, 'di ba? Submitted a 10-point proposal package in a 3-volume. That is news.
Oh yeah,
Pero
yung tipong talaga well researched, yung mga proposals na talagang
oo,
merong substance at
oo.
meron siyang naka-binder na Mr. President, meron po kaming study group at meron kaming
Yes,
mga researchers
or
to
if
this.
she would be in a press conference and right beside her are the CEO of AstraZeneca and CEO of Pfizer, and they would
Mhm.
say that, we agreed with the Vice President that we will give 10 million doses each. That is news.
Yeah, yun. Kaano yun? Talagang
Pero
worth of
yung,
attention.
but when you just present the Vice President saying, blah blah blah, I have a suggestion, we have to do this collectively. Putya, pandemic, ano na
Puro
nga wala na nga mass gathering, gagamitin mo pa ang term collectively.
tapos ang dami niyang mga motherhood statements na ginagamit at meron pa siyang latest na parang kanyang suggestion na pinost niya sa kanyang personal Facebook page. Pag binasa mo, ano ba naman ito? Parang pinag-isipan lang niya ng isang araw. Siguro inupuan niya ng isa o
Oh,
dalawang oras. Tapos tatype siya. Tapos yung kanyang mga consultants, ma'am, sabihin mo to ma'am. Ito, ilagay mo to ma'am. Oh, ganito, ganyan, ganyan. Tapos ano mo, parang, if you think about it,
and not only in this pandemic, look at what happened during the last typhoon, si Ulysses, di ba? I mean, why was it even in the news that Lenny coordinated through Twitter yung mga ginagawa ng ating armed forces? I mean, the armed forces were already doing their jobs. And what Lenny did was just, put it out there in Twitter and made it appear that she coordinated the response of the military, the police, and the frontliners. She made it appear, but it's actually what they have been doing even before she said it or tweeted it. Diba? Ginagawa na yun ng mga tao eh. Ginagawa na yun ng ating mga kasundaluhan eh. Yung mga Coast Guard, bago pa man bumagsak naglandfall si Ulysses, nandun eh. Diba? And yet, ang hype sa mainstream is Lenny coordinated it. And, Lenny was the one who was on top of things. I mean,
yung cheap ass political stance ang tawag dyan, Mark. Yung meron silang playbook. Matagal na nating nami-mention yung playbook na yun eh, kasi
alam mo, kasi successful yan before social media. And that was really, in the age of dati, when we are reading Reader's Digest, Time Magazine, Newsweek, we rely on this, di ba, materials on these publications as gospel truth. Yan yung mga talagang inaano natin eh. And they only present one side of the story, and that is the story or the side that we cater to or believe or resonate with, di ba? Hindi natin nakikita yung ibang angulo, and which is what we are now experiencing in social media, because in social media it's really real time. I mean, no matter how many times Lenny Robredo would tweet that what is happening in Cagayan is that, pero in Cagayan and anywhere else, alam naman natin ng totoo. Dahil tayo mismo, we are there also. We can already connect with people of Cagayan. We can connect with our government, with the military. Alam na natin eh. Kaya alam nating baloney yung sinasabi niya. Alam natin na she was just coordinating in her office in New Manila. Pero ang image na gusto niya i-present is that she is there in Cagayan or she is on top of things, diba? Parang
I think, Mark, they're not trying to convince the core supporters of the president, because they know that's futile. Wala talaga sila magagawa dyan, and the only thing they can do is to disrupt, to piss off people, because they think by doing so, certain degree of negativity will permeate sa community that supports the president. But other than that, I think they're also trying to lure the neutrals, the ones who don't have any political leanings. And by creating this noise, people will feel, the ones who are not political junkies like we are, Mark, na biglang they get swayed by all this continuous onslaught of negativity happening on social media, in the hopes that these people will start believing na yung narrative nila, which hasn't really worked, because one thing that's going for the president is you can see the work that's being done. Even in the infrastructure aspect of governance. You know this for a fact, Mark, what the DOTR has been doing, what the DPWH has been doing. You can see everything has developed, or talagang may nangyari at may nagawa ang gobyerno. So hindi nila pwedeng ipagkait yun. I think yung strategy nila, kasi alam nila pag tuloy-tuloy itong build at naging highlight ng government na to, by 2022 they won't stand a chance, because there'll be a legacy left by the Duterte administration. And these are palpable, tangible things that people can see and experience and also enjoy. Ito mga bridges pala across Pasig River, for the people from Metro Manila, you can see it in the surveys naman eh. Mga taga Metro Manila talagang PRRD, talagang malakas ang suporta ng mga taga Metro Manila kay Presidente, kasi nakikita talaga yung ginagawa ng gobyerno. Ngayon lang, Mark, sabi mo,
kaya nga today and even in the past few days, they are so much triggered dito sa pandemic, and they feel na itong pandemic ang kanilang last bet na to stem or to have the people on their side. Kasi if with this pandemic maging successful pa rin ang pagka-handle ng gobyerno, wala na talaga sila. They will not really, wala na. Mabubura na sila sa mundo, kaya itong pandemic ang talagang gagamitin nila. And you have to watch out, people. We have to watch out. We have to be very vigilant, dahil this is really what they're going to do to destroy the image of the administration, to let you know that Duterte palpak, 'di ba? May hashtag na nga eh. Duterte palpak, that many people are dying now, that vaccines are not available.
Mabagal daw pag-roll out ng vaccine.
Mabagal ang roll out. They will really hype these images na these storylines na palpak. Palpak sa bakuna, palpak sa pag-control ng surge ng pandemic, ayuda, walang ayuda,
at saka Mark,
matay na gugutom.
Tsaka Mark, dapat yung mga ating mga viewers at yung mga supporters ni Presidente, you have to be aware with yung mga mo, Mark, maraming mga fake information na lumalabas from time to time. Na kesyo daw sinabi ng gobyerno, ito daw yung magiging magla-lockdown daw or marami, ang ginagawa kasi nila ay napapalabas sila ng mga fake, like for example, releases coming from the IATF. Nakita mo ba yung mga fake documents sometimes that are coming out na they...
Yung nilabas nila recently na lockdown from March 15 to di ba? Pero that was March 2020. Ginawa nila March 2021. So, ang daming naloko noon, ang daming nagpanic na magla-lockdown na pala. That was the news last year.
Kasi yung I think yung purpose nila dyan, Mark, is to really create confusion.
Yes.
Yung kanilang objective to create confusion is for people to think, ano ba talaga? Ano bang parang hindi control ang gobyerno. Parang hindi tutugma yung mga information na lumalabas. Even if people don't realize that there's a nefarious aspect to itong pag-release ng mga fake information on social media, ay nagka-create ng very negative vibe among people who are on social media and even our citizens, di ba?
If you look at it, a lot of our problems now, or a lot of our angst now, or a lot of our worries now, are practically created by this fake news, this misleading information, and because that's that is what they really want, diba? Yan ang gusto talaga nila mangyari. They really want to weaken the government. They really want for you to distrust the government, for you to question the competence of government, diba? Yan ang talagang nila. Talagang they will drive us to the wall. They will really drive us crazy with all this misinformation, disinformation.
Ang lumalabas ngayon, Mark, kaya daw tumagal yung pag-roll out ng vaccine is because the IATF or the leadership were indecisive in making sure that the necessary steps are taken. For example, yung paglabas ng bill sa Congress na yung indemnification yata na tama ba, Mark? Yung pag nagkaroon ng problema yung vaccine, hindi liable yung mga companies na naglabas ng mga vaccine. They have to sign that and they have to release a bill that will protect the companies who are offering or who are providing us the vaccine. Without that, they won't be able to deliver these vaccines. So may mga diyan pinapalabas nila na kasi nag-aaway-away sila dyan sa IATF. Merong mga vaccines na pinapaboran nila dahil grabe ang corruption. Sana ito pa, Mark, paborito nila, trilyong utang na galing World Bank. Asan na? Ba't wala pa ring vaccine hanggang ngayon? Even itong ating magagaling na senador, gusto nila, yung mga pumapapel, ay paborito nilang linya yan na para lang magkaroon sila ng
alam mo, tingnan mo yan. That's a very good example. Yung nilabas na issue about loans and the vaccine, di ba?
Yes.
Ang galing Ang galing ng propaganda Napakahusay po. I mean, kumagat ang mga tao, na-trigger ang mga tao, na-alarma ang mga tao. Pero pag tinignan mo, pag ina-analyze mo, ano ba connection? Kasi wala To put it simply, magka-car loan ka. Diba? Mag-apply ka ng car loan. So, napunta ka sa bangko, nagsabi ka, gusto mo mag-apply ng car loan. Okay, di pa-process. Ngayon, pag na-approve ang car loan mo, so approve. Ibibigay ba sa iyo yung pera ng bangko? Hindi, di ba?
Sila magbabayad ng kotse.
Ang kakausapin ng bangko, yung kasa.
Yung kasa.
Diba?
Tama.
Yung bangko, ibibigay yung pera sa kasa.
Correct.
Ikaw, aantayin mo dahil approve na yung loan mo. Pag sinabi ng bangko na approve, tapos available na yung unit, so magbibigay ka na ng equity, tapos i-deliver sa iyo yung kotse ng kasa. Okay? Tapos, pag ginagamit mo na yung kotse, doon ka na ngayon sisingilin sa loan mo.
Yo, ganun
Diba?
yun. Oo.
Ganun kasimple yun eh. Pero kasi ito, nung nilabas na, ito ang listahan ng mga approved loans. Tapos, billion-billion ito. Biglang, nasaan ang bakuna? Di ikaw naman, wow, shit, oo nga, ang daming pala na natin.
Ano?
Diba?
Bakit?
Bauna tayo
Pranggot
sa
lang.
utang. Grabe. Tapos walang bakuna.
Mm.
Ganun yung impression na kinrate, di ba, ni Senator, ano? Ang galing di ba? Oo, ang galing ni Palimping.
Palimping.
And it worked because a lot of people, nag-share nung na yon, nung tweet na yon, and a lot of people are now using it as even mainstream media carried it, 'di ba? As banner, as news na nga, ang dami na, laki na ng loan natin. Pero in reality, nandiyan yung mga loan, approve yan, pero hindi naman ginagamit eh. Tsaka naka-stipulate pa nga yan, diretsong babayaran yung supplier eh. Now, what is really the issue? The issue is supply and demand. The issue is walang bakuna because walang maibigay ang mga manufacturers because it's a global thing and hindi naman may leverage ba tayo Pilipinas para mag-demand na unahin nyo tayo?
No other nothing less but the New York Times even had an article talking about how the first world countries are controlling the supply of the vaccines because most of these companies come from first world countries. Pfizer, Moderna, they're all based in the United States. Si AstraZeneca is from the UK. Lahat yan, 80% of the vaccines, yung supply ng vaccines, ay kontrolado po ng mga first world countries. Kaya sabi nung New York Times article, sabi, you have to, I think the government should step up and say, look, this is an emergency. We need not think about just ourselves. We have to think about this globally. Because if we cannot stem the tide across our borders, not the world will suffer economically kasi lahat tayo interconnected pa rin eh. 'Di ba?
Yes.
Kung kayo, let's say safe ang United States, meron silang mga bakuna, may supply sila. Ang UK, lahat sila may supply ng bakuna. Tapos yung mga third world countries wala. Interconnected pa rin lahat yun eh. They're doing business also in these countries that have the lack of in the supply of vaccines. So ano pa rin talaga, we cannot do this. Hindi naman maipagkakaila talaga, Mark, na meron talagang mga personalities, may mga certain groups na may agenda that they see this as an opportunity to earn. And even here in the Philippines, people are thinking of how to monetize this high demand on vaccines. That exacerbates the problem that we have right now. Nagiging issue siya. But guaranteed naman the government, I don't think the government will risk, or even PRRD himself, I think he'll be the first one to shoot these people who are abusing or taking advantage of the situation.
Tama.
Diba?
And pansinin mo, di ba ang daming na-trigger doon sa tweet na yon about loans and vaccine. Pero wala naman talagang connection actually. Pero nakita mo nagamit na pangtibag sa confidence ng tao sa gobyerno. That, nasaan ang pera natin? Billion yan. Bakit walang bakuna? So we are questioning the government now and marami ang nag-iisip niya na baka nalustay na ang loan, di ba? Nalustay na yung pondo ng loan.
Isa pa, Mark, ito wag natin kakalimutan, apart from the vaccine issue. Hindi lang tama yung isang viewer natin, may divide and conquer operation that's happening right now eh. Another issue that they are using or they are kumbaga trying to yung way nila to confuse people is they also add the issue of Dengvaksha to the equation. Kasi since we have like a prior experience before with Dengvaxia na may mga tao talagang takot na magpabakuna. They want to worsen the situation by paunti-unti rin nilalabas rin nila yung mga issue on Dengvaxia. How sure are you? Pag nagpa-vaccine tayo, walang mangyayari sa atin. So, ano nangyari ngayon, Mark? Meron tayong mga Pilipino na takot magpabakuna.
Well,
Pag hindi
yan ang isang masakit na nangyari. Like, parang related to that. Ano yung kwento about Sinovac? Sinovac was really, China was actually really so, enamored with us na gusto nila talaga tayong bigyan ng priority sa bakuna. The problem is, because of the anti-China sentiment dito sa atin, ayan, ang dami-daming kuda-kuda, blah, 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 China, hindi naman ano yan, wala. So what did China do? Wala. China, kahit kalaban nila ang Indonesia, kahit marami sinasabi Indonesia, mas inauna na nilang kausapin ang Indonesia. And what they did with Indonesia was that, aside from guaranteeing supply, nakipag-co-op pa sila sa Indonesia to transfer technology, yung sa bakuna, make Indonesia an extension of manufacturing. Sinabihan ng Indonesia na, magtayo na kayo ng planta dyan para dyan na gagawin yung bakuna. Bibigay namin sa inyo yung formula. Which is supposedly, dito dapat gagawin yan. Or dito dapat, mayroon na dapat tayong milyon na dapat ang nabakunahan sa atin. But people, there's so many anti-China sentiments and narrative na misplaced, misinformed, disinformed, wala. Naman the Chinese culture din is relational, di ba? I mean, they are into relationships. Ang gusto nila, hindi yung formalities and all like what the Americans and the Europeans are. Yun ang nangyari. Kaya, di ba? Masakit na ganyan na because of this noise, because of this mga anti-government narratives talaga, naapektuhan talaga yung programa and ultimately tayong mga Pilipino talaga nagsasuffer ng mga ng consequence nitong mga maiingay na to, which is so ewan ko, nakakainis na nakakapagod ng labanan, pero we have to like really continue exposing them and trying to put the real story, the proper context of the situation, the issue. Dahil pag hindi, wala madadrown tayo dun sa dun sa kanilang gustong palabasin.
Ang maganda lang sa atin, Mark, is malaki talagang audience ng mga supporters ni Presidente. So, and they've invested
and that is because Ron, of what you said earlier, that we see the tangible results naman dahil kahit anong paninira naman ang gawin nitong mga tinamaan ng lintik na to ang realidad naman ng nakikita natin, na nararanasan natin, and na-experience naman natin. I mean, we know naman na talagang pinoprocure yung bakuna. We know naman na talagang tinatrabaho. Mahirap niya kung talagang wala namang gumagawa o kumikilos, di ba? Pero nakikita naman natin kumikilos marami lang talagang twist and turns ang ginagawa. But we see,
Napansin ko, Mark, yung madalas silang nilalabas yung mga hindi ko alam kung fake, but meron silang data nilalabas na graphic representation of our rank in Asia in terms of how yung ating the way we dealt with the COVID pandemic. Tapos in-emphasize sila na last place tayo. Yan, lumalabas sa social media ngayon 'di ba, na kulela tayo sa sa ranking.
Pero di naman nila pinapaliwanag doon na dapat nila 'yon, equate nila on a population basis, 'di ba? Or dahil hindi naman pwedeng ikumpara tayo sa Singapore.
Tsaka geography.
Yung capability natin, 'di ba? Yung ating
issues. We can't be compared to a country like Vietnam because Vietnam is essentially an authoritarian regime. They can dictate policy without any questions. You have to follow.
And besides, Ron, ito namang Duterte administration, ito ngayon, natsambahan na sila ang humarap dito sa pandemic. Pero in terms of, the government itself, the workings of government or the systems in place, dapat, kumbaga, dapat noon pa meron na tayong mga situational di ba? Dapat meron na tayong playbook. If ever may tumating na pandemic, dapat meron tayong ganitong gagawin. May mga senaryo, may mga analysis, paralysis na nga, di ba? Wala naman eh. Wala namang inabutan tong Duterte administration eh. Di ba?
Wala, they didn't have anything to build upon. Kumbaga, meron existing
so
infrastructure or process.
Everything that they're doing right now is actually are the ones now being established as the standards. Kumbaga ngayon lang natin yung real time ngayon na nag-a-adjust, nag-a-adapt sa situation, handling the pandemic, and we are developing our systems in place as is where is now. Hindi tayo kumukuha o dumudukot ng kasi wala naman tayong paggugutan eh. Wala naman tayong precedents, wala namang ginawang scenario planning.
Ang gusto ko sana mapag-usapan, Mark, after I read some of the messages here is to lay down the realities of what the government is going through in facing this pandemic. Para lang maintindihan ng tao, what's the real score? Kasi I think, Mark, kahit paano we are informed enough to explain to people what's been happening. So we will discuss that after this. Let me just acknowledge certain viewers like Marivic Soli. Sabi niya, yung basurang balita ng mainstream media, pinaniniwalaan ng mga estudyante ko sa Vietnam. Minsan kinokorek ko sila because ang alam talaga nila, Duterte had many people killed because of the drug war. Ang mga tangang media abroad, papulot na lang ng basurang balita dito sa Pilipinas. That's from Marivic Sol.
Actually, Marivic, hindi yan pinupulot nila. They are part of the international media. Is actually part of the narrative or part of the cabal.
The cabal.
Part of the cabal that is propagating those fake news. I mean, yan eh. Yung drug war na yan, yung human rights situation sa Pilipinas, tingnan mo naman, ang mga reference nila, Rappler, ang reference nila is,
Inquirer. Inquirer is connected with the New York Times, by the way.
Yes.
Pag may nilabas ang Inquirer, lumalabas sa New York Times.
Diba? ang source person na nila, si Maria Ressa. So, yan ang pinipick up ng international media. And that is already part of the script. Kasama na yan sa narrative na hindi lang naman local but also international. Because, alam mo, i-challenge mo yung mga international press na yan. Pumunta kayo rito. Really? Are we really the killing fields? Really? Pero, di ba? Pumunta kayo dito. Experience yourself kung hindi ka pwedeng maglakad sa Maynila na hindi ka mababaril.
Parang parang pinakamagandang analogy dyan, Mark, is when Maria Ressa claimed that she's a war correspondent na hindi naman siya nakakapunta sa gera. Nagre-report lang sa studio.
Di ba? What did Rappler do dun sa story ng Resorts World incident, di ba? It was an ISIS operation. Diyos ko naman. Tapos ang pangalan ng terrorist, si Luzon Al-Kameni. Luzoni? Ano?
Grabe na nakakahiya yun. Pero alam mo, ang galing rin ng Rappler.
Al-Luzoni ang pangalan ng terrorist na sinabi na pick up niya sa chatter sa website ng mga mga ISIS group.
Yung reporter na yun, Mark, nagtatrabaho pa rin ba doon? Nandun pa rin ba yun?
Si Ressa yun eh.
Si Ressa ba yun?
Siya mismo yung nag-ano nun eh.
Siya mismo nag-report nun?
Siya kasi nagsasabi na exclusive by Maria Ressa, tapos sinasabi niya, she was monitoring the ISIS chat groups. Kaya doon niya na-pick up yung Al-Luzoni na ito pala yung lumusob sa Resorts World.
Pero dyan po kayo makinig po kayo. Si Maria Ressa binibigyan ng mga award ng foreign organizations. Doon na lang iisipin yung dyan pa lang sira na kagad credibility ng mga award institutions na to. Kahit,
alam mo, yan nga ano natin eh. Alam mo, yan ang mga magagandang realization po natin ngayon. Dati, talagang nabibighani tayo pag ang isang tao nabibigyan ng award, lalo na pag international
oo,
recognition. Di ba?
oo, oo.
Those are the things that we look upon a person na, wow, masyado na siyang esteemed na siya sa ating paningin. And
Oo.
na siya, higher plateau, elevated na ang kanyang status, di ba? But now we now know na yung award-giving body related pala doon sa organization kung saan nagtatrabaho itong
Correct.
need ng award.
Tsaka, people are getting smarter by the day, especially with social media kasi the access to information is right there. No? It's in your fingertips. And now we realize that when you hear award-giving body not vetting the person that they're giving the award to, or there's an actual connection between the award-giving body and the press organization where this reporter comes from, doon ka mag-iisip ka tuloy, ilang dekada na ba nila tayo ginagago? Diba?
I mean, even a prestigious award like the Nobel Peace Prize, itong recent lang.
Na-nominate, di ba? Nominate lang yan, ha? Na hindi naman pala dapat yan pinapaalam kung na-nominate ka.
I mean, pwede mong sabihin na sinubmit ang pangalan mo for nomination. But this does not necessarily mean
that you were considered.
You are considered because hindi naman ilalabas ng Nobel Committee yung mga nominees nila na official.
Tama.
Hindi nila ilalabas, and that would only be published 50 years after. Tsaka lang nila na official nominee ka nung time na yon. Alright? So, pwede mo sabihin talaga I mean, ikaw Ron, pwede kita sabihin, Ron, sinabit ko yung pangalan mo sa Nobel Peace Prize kaya ano ka na.
Tapos bukas din i-announce ko, Mark. Ninominate ako sa Nobel Peace Prize, ha?
I-post mo na sa Facebook page mo na
Tapos ilalagay ko yung
contender ka sa Nobel Peace Prize.
Mag-upload ako ng picture ng Nobel parang award, tapos ilalagay ko sa aking Facebook page. Di ba?
Side by side mo na yung logo ng Nobel Peace Prize, ng Nobel Foundation, side by side mo sa mukha mo. Di ba? Nominee ka na.
Panalo. Sabi ni sabi ni ng ating viewer from another Facebook group, tama sir, nakakapagtaka bakit nabibigyan ng maraming award kasi nga gusto nila kontrolin ang bawat bansa, lalo na maraming mahihirap, mas madali nilang makontrol, madali nilang maging puppet. Yun tama, ulit matagal na tayo nila ginagago kaso gising na tayong mga Pilipino. Oo. Sabi ni Grace Punsalan, magtataka pa ba kayo kay Reza? Sa chat group nga ng ISIS may access niya, Nobel Peace Foundation pa kaya? Sabi ni Grace. We're gonna read more of the messages, but I just wanna go back to the discussion that I wanted to have with Mark. Kasi first of all, Mark, tayo dalawa, marami tayong mga kakilala na nag-work sa government at alam natin yung pinagdadaanan nila. Ladies and gentlemen, people like Dr. Beverly Ho of the DOH, hindi mo lang kung alam lang ninyo kung anong pinagdadaanan nila araw-araw. Halos walang tulog yung mga tao na yan para lang mabigay yung serbisyo na tama at ma-address yung itong problema natin ng COVID. Well, first of all, let me just talk about first, Mark, the systemic issues that the government is trying to overcome. Sa totoo lang po, marami po tayong mga matatalinong sa ating liderato. Sa IATF po, ang daming lumalabas na magagandang plano dyan. As a matter of fact, yung mga policies na lumalabas sa atin na ini-explain ng mga kagaya ni spokesman natin, Harry Roque, ay nanggaling, pinag-isipan po yan ng ating mga committee at ng mga tao na in charge sa IATF. Ang problema po, maganda ang plano, pero paminsan nagkakaproblema po tayo sa implementation. Di ba, Mark?
Yeah.
Kasi ang implementation nangyayari po yan on the ground. Nangyayari po yan sa barangay. Kaso po, hindi natin may we can't deny the fact that because our system is flawed, we've elected officials who are not capable of running the show. We have people from that level, the barangay level, na nahihirapan gampanan ng kanilang tungkulin dahil hindi sila trained enough to handle a pandemic. That's why we have issues on the ground that cannot be addressed by just these very brilliant ideas that have been decided upon by our decision makers. Ang ganda ng usapan sa taas, Mark eh. Narinig
Yeah.
natin itong mga discussions na ito. Ang ganda ng mga batuan ng mga ideas. Tapos
True.
once they've agreed on a policy, they cascade that down to the barangay level. Ang problema pagdating sa barangay level,
Iba na
hindi nila
interpretation.
either hindi nila binabasa yan or hindi nila naintindihan kung paano i-implement.
Yeah.
Diba?
True.
So ano ang naging resulta? For example, bigyan natin ng example ng barangay. Ang barangay may tinatawag na barangay BERT. Alam mo yung BERT, Mark, di ba? Yung Barangay Health Emergency Response Team. Each barangay merong ganun.
Dapat.
Dapat. Pero tanungin mo ang barangay mo, sino ang mga membro ng BERT? Nasaan sila? Ano ang mga nagawa nila during the pandemic? Sigurado pag nag-survey tayo, Mark,
Yeah.
ang daming bagsak dyan.
Correct.
Daming 65. Di ba?
Yes.
Tapos, ang masaklap dyan, yung leadership ng mga nag-handle ng itong mga grupo na to sa barangay level, ay hindi rin sila capable. May mga barangay captain na pasaway, may mga barangay captain na parating tulog or hindi ginagawa yung kanilang trabaho. Meron tayong mga kagawad, wala namang ginawa dyan, kundi mga racket. Yung mga tanod natin are underpaid. They're paid 200 pesos a day. How can you, gain subsistence with 200 pesos a day? So meron mga sideline yung mga yan. Don't expect them to risk their lives for you because they're underpaid and ill-equipped and they lack training. So what happens there, even if the plans set forth, even by the LGU, magaling ang mayor mo, pagdating sa barangay, bagsak. So kaya nagkakaroon tayo ng mataas na kaso ng COVID dahil even the very simple contact trace is not done timely. In a timely manner. And bago magawa yung contact tracing tapos na nagkalat na sobrang madami nang na-infect. Dahil either hindi na-record yung may sakit, hindi nagawa ng aksyon, kaya tayo nagkakaproblema ng ganito. Kaya nagkaroon ng mataas na cases ng COVID. Given the fact na may systemic problems tayo, meron din tayong meron tayong social structures na we cannot seem to get out of. Mas very strong ang family ties ng mga Pilipino. We can't stand being alone. We want to get together with friends, with family. And once we are with family and friends, we forget to wear our masks. We don't wash our hands. Kumpiyansa tayo eh. Even our public officials, Mark, di ba? Napansin mo maraming nahahawang mga public officials. Dahil pag nag-meeting sila, minsan nakababa na yung mask eh. Tapos they are in a room for hours on end talking about, their plans, strategies, without thinking na one of them who's in the room, who's been speaking continuously, has been spraying their droplets to everyone. Kaya huwag kayong magtataka pag meron tayong mga government officials nagkakasakit at nagkaka-COVID.
Correct.
So, diba, Mark? You can correct me if I'm wrong, Mark, but that's my assessment of our situation right now. That it's hard for us. We don't have an authoritarian. That's another thing that proved the opposition wrong. We don't have an authoritarian administration that can just shoot people if they don't follow. Who will, diba, or put you in jail if you don't wear your mask. Dito, ang mask, voluntary or subject to your discretion. You have, kumbaga, kung ayaw magmask, di hindi, bahala ka, walang susuway sa'yo. 'Di ba? Kahit kasi yung mga dapat na sumusuway ay rin, pasaway rin. So yun yung
Well,
ating mga systemic problems that we have to really, we have to be realistic. Mark,
yeah.
what's your thought on that?
Hindi kasi kanina pinag-usapan namin yan nila Doc Ethel, why is it that there's a surge in cases? Well, we have to remember that there was also already a relaxation of the measures. Kasi nga, it's also because people are so agitated na of wanting to leave the house, of wanting to go back to normal.
Mm.
If you see, nakita mo, nung January, pinilit yung translasyon because, it's tradition.
Mhm.
Di ba? I mean, that in
It's
itself
hindi
is
na
a very...
political thing. May political ramifications rin yun. Kung hindi mo
pero
pinayagan yun, di ba?
kaya nga, di ba, kung hindi mo pinayagan yon, that would really be a dent sa political career ni Isko Moreno.
Correct.
And even the Catholic Church would receive a backlash on that,
Mhm.
Kaya it was tolerated and it was really somehow encouraged pa nga na people go there. And that in itself is a vector of transmission. Yung translasyon na yan was really, kaya nga it was really predicted that after translasyon, there will really be a surge. And true enough, I mean, it's happening now. And even the arrival of the vaccines or the availability of vaccines, Ron, contributed to this.
Yes.
Because people have become, na rin, somehow...
At saka, Mark, this phenomenon is not unique to the Philippines.
Yes,
There
exactly.
maraming countries na nagkaroon ng vaccine rollout na tumaas talaga yung incidence.
Correct.
Dahil nga,
Exactly. Because of the false sense of security of people.
correct.
Yeah, that now that we have the vaccine, it's now safe to go out. Kasi parang malakas na ngayon ang loob mo na lumabas and to mingle and to invite your friends over dahil, eto na, may bakuna na eh. Even if hindi ka pa mabakunahan ngayon, ang ano mo ngayon, ang mental mo ngayon, ang thoughts mo ngayon is that, we have the vaccine already, so kung may mangyari man sa akin, meron ng, may cure na o may sagot na. Which is really wrong, di ba? Which is really mali. But yan yung prevailing. And again, napakahirap po kasi talaga to strike a balance between the economic need of people and the health issue, di ba? Talagang, kasi given this choice of a lockdown or a prolonged stay in the house, you will either die of COVID or die of
hunger,
of stress, of
of
mental
stress.
torture.
Oh.
Di ba? It's either you die of COVID or mabaliw ka.
Tama.
Yun ang choice eh. Di ba?
Kaya Mark, bring up ko itong meron akong partially rhetorical question that I posed to some of our friends from the IATF. Sabi ko, has there been a study? Meron ba anywhere in the world? Have they conducted a study, or is there verifiable facts that support if you are inside a room full of people wearing masks, what are the chances of you transmitting COVID to another person? Yun lang, very basic question. Kasi I feel, if you can answer that question in a very pragmatic way, scientific way, based on data, policies then can be deduced coming from that situation. Kasi all of a sudden, kasi sabi nga nila, I've read some literature saying that wearing masks reduces the risk of you transmitting COVID by as much as 97%. So ibig sabihin 3% lang yung chance na magka-COVID ka kung nakamask ka. So kung yan ang situation, then the wearing of mask should be the most important thing in this pandemic. Yeah. Diba? So dapat gone are the bad practices of wearing the mask on your chin or removing the mask while eating and conversing. The policy should be no mask, no conversation. Because majority of the time that you are transmitting the virus is when your droplets from your mouth are in the air
Yeah,
going to the next person. 'Di
correct.
ba? So madalas yung chance, I'm sure may nangyayari rin na, contaminated kamay mo, hawak ka ng mata, but I think mas malaki yung chance na makatransmit ka ng COVID when you're speaking to someone. So,
Mhm.
the focus should be yung ang ating focus should be creating policy that is more specific, mas more about interaction, because COVID gets transmitted through interaction with another human being, 'di ba? Kasi isip mo ang ating mga solutions ngayon kasi, Mark, nuclear solution eh. Pocha, taas ng COVID, lockdown. Huwag palabasin lahat ng tao, 'di ba? Huwag natin palabasin ng mga tao. So, bakit nuclear solution? Kasi grabe ang collateral damage. Businesses are down, people lose their jobs because the economy is not moving. It grinds into a stop dahil walang economic activity, walang transaction na nangyayari because people are prevented from going out. Now, if you think about it rationally, then the policy should be what happens. We should address the problem about how people interact with each other and what that interaction means in terms of transmitting disease to another person. Ewan ko, Mark, sa tingin ko, what do you think?
Well, I think in fairness to the government, Ron, yung sinasabi mo naman about the face mask and all of these health measures.
Oo, parang sinasabi yan eh.
Nandiyan naman eh. In place naman eh.
Hindi nagsasawa ang gobyerno na i-remind ng mga tao na magsuot ng
Yeah.
mask. Ang
Oh,
mga tao lang, problema sa mga tao, masyadong mababaw ang pagkakaintindi nila kung bakit importante ang magsuot ng mask. Sa
correct.
kanila, okay, di ba?
And ano nga eh, I mean, the measures are in place and the government has been very adamant in reminding the people that, lalo na in public transportation. I have personally seen the effort of the DOTR in trying to cascade that information. May 7 commandments nga sila in public transportation, and that means wearing mask, face shield, and do not talk, do not eat inside the trains, the passenger jeepneys. Pero hindi. Ang problema pa rin talaga, people will insist on, nakita mo, yung isang araw sa MRT, yung babae, nakuna ng video. Binaba niya yung mask niya, tinanggal niya, nag-selfie, nasa loob ng train. I mean, di ba? And then, people will now say, bakit ang taas-taas ng COVID? Tsaka parang ang problema pa rin natin, isa pa, we are so dependent so much on even the national government's response that we keep on forgetting that we have a role to play.
Yes.
In this issue, in trying to control this pandemic. Puro tayo tanong na bakit ang taas-taas, laging ngayon hina-highlight 8,019 bakit tuloy-tuloy na in the past few days more than 7,000. Mga kababayan po, alam nyo, tapos magagalit tayo dahil sarado, walang dine-in. Magagalit tayo dahil tinanggal ngayon yung mga massage services.
Sino po may kasalanan yan? Di ba? Sino pag minsan kailangan na rin na gamitin natin yung kamote natin kasi alam mo, lahat ito bumabalik din sa atin yung ating mga kalokohan eh. Yung ating mga maling gawain.
Ang hirap kasi pinayagan ka mag-dine-in. Pero dapat sa dine-in sinasabi, naka-mask ka pa rin, naka-face shield ka pa rin, at katanggalin mo lang pagkakain ka, di ba? Pero maraming sumusunod pa.
Idagdag dapat talaga, Mark, feeling ko kasi maraming kumakain sa restaurant, kumakain sa enclosed areas with other people. Pag tinanggal mo yung mask mo, kumakain ka, wala mo nang daldalan.
Wala. Dapat kumain
ka. Away mo na.
Yun ang problema nga because of our nature na rin, because of our social nature na rin. Because of the fact that we're so stymied, we're so, we feel, tsaka we feel like we're prisoners in our own country, in our own homes, di ba? Ngayon, parang hindi tayo talaga gigil na yung lumabas to go back to normal, to bring back our previous lifestyle. Kaya talagang this surge will really happen. And sinabi mo kanina, pinoint out mo, this is not isolated to the Philippines. I mean, Europe now is experiencing third wave, di ba?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Germany is on a lockdown, Italy is on a lockdown, France
Yes.
is on a lockdown. So again, it's human nature versus human nature versus the need to protect oneself, tsaka to uphold your health and welfare. Ang laki po talagang conflict. Kaya nga, you either die of COVID or you become crazy. Di ba?
Sa akin,
one thing we have to point out, like, even if mataas ang mga cases natin ngayon, ang mga talagang merong surge in cases, but you have to also look at it in terms of yung fatality or yung death rate. Because hindi siya anong term doon? Hindi siya parallel or congruent, di ba? Na hindi siya absolutely na kung tumaas yung cases, tumaas din ng deaths. Hindi. And even if we look at it on a worldwide perspective,
hindi siya proportional yung
hindi
deaths.
Proportional, yeah.
Number of cases.
Tapos if you look at our situation now as compared to other countries, mas malala yung mga daily cases like in Brazil, it's about parang more than 10,000 a day. Ang spike nila ngayon, ang cases nila, di ba? So we're not the only ones experiencing this, and we are not experiencing the worst of this pandemic. Kaya nga I mean, the protocols are in place, the health and safety measures are in place. Government has already been has put in the necessary measures. Tsaka Ron, isa pang nakikita ko na hindi na-analyze ng issue dito because we have the most number of migrant workers. And tuloy-tuloy ang uwi nila Tuloy-tuloy ang uwi nila. And imagine, the government is shouldering the expenses of these people going back. Transport, yung pag-quarantine sa hotel, testing. What are the numbers? Nung isang araw, ang pinost ko numbers na pinauwi na mga OFWs na pinauwi sa probinsya nila. Kasi pati pag-uwi sa probinsya nila,
sagot ng gobyerno.
So there are already more than 500,000 of our kababayans na dumating.
Dati 350,000 lang yan, Mark. Sa 500,000 na pala.
500,000 na. Ang mga frontliners natin since March last year na libre ang pamasahe, daily basis, is nasa more than 2 million ridership na ang binibigay ng gobyerno na libre. Kung ikaw isang OFW, say, pagdating mo rito, sagot ang hotel mo for 14 days. Magkano yan? Magkano ang RT-PCR testing? Magkano yung eroplano mo nung sinagot ng gobyerno pauwi ka rito? Magkano yung daily expenses mo ng pagkain? I-multiply mo by 500,000 of our kababayans. Magkano na nagastos ng gobyerno?
Laki. Sobrang
and yet,
laki.
Still, ang dami pa rin umaangat. Tapos, ilan na mga natayo nating mga testing centers, mga additional hospital beds, mga, di ba, mga COVID centers, which is really, ngayon lang natin ginagawa, Ron. Hindi tayo prepared, hindi maganda ang ating health institutions, ang ating public health facilities, infrastructure, and yet, we are managing this pandemic, I think, better than most countries na in a similar situation.
Yeah.
Di ba? Pero marami pa rin I mean, tsaka, again, Ron, we have to emphasize, a lot of the problems that we have right now are basically due to perception and misinformation, disinformation that is being put out there. Na hindi naman talaga dapat tayo kailangan mag-alala na ito nga, mga OFWs natin may protocols kang sinusunod ngayon na pagdating mo, on the 6th day, tsaka ka lang te-testingin, pag lumabas ang resulta mo after 24 hours na okay ka, lalabas ka na. So, hindi ka na magka-quarantine na matagal. So, all of this, ano yan, nandyan yan. And yet, ang dami pa ring fears, ang dami pa ring angst, ang dami pa ring sinasabi na palpak ang gobyerno. Paano naging palpak ang gobyerno kung sinagot ang quarantine mo, ang testing mo, ang pauwi mo dito sa Pilipinas at pauwi mo sa probinsya mo? Palpak ang gobyerno?
Siguro kailangan nila i-assess rin yung kanilang lifestyle, no? Itong mga mahiling magreklamo. Sabi mo,
Yeah.
palpak ang gobyerno. Sa tingin mo kung palpak ang gobyerno, hindi ka maapektuhan? Yung iyong kabuhayan, sa tingin mo, hindi maapektuhan kung palpak ang gobyerno? Tingin mo ma-afford mo yung kaka-Starbucks mo? Kung
Yeah.
kung palpak ang gobyerno? Hindi yata nila naisip yun eh. Kaya nga siguro ang suggestion natin ito, Mark, before you listen or to certain propaganda, obviously kasi this is really propaganda already. This is like political propaganda at its worst because they're doing it in a pandemic. They're trying to sway people's opinion about the administration because they feel this is the only way they'll stand a chance in taking over in 2022. To dislodge the continuity plan of the government. If they anoint a certain successor to this administration, then it's the job of the opposition to destroy this pattern, this continuity na tinatawag. Kasi gusto nilang bumalik. They want to be in power. So if you feel that certain information tends to confuse you, make you feel bad about the situation, have a sense of negativity that you want to share it with other friends, that means their propaganda is working against you. That's
Correct.
exactly what they want to happen if you
Yes.
are feeling confused, angry, and disillusioned. All right?
Tama po.
But
And you have to really remind people, Ron, I think we have to really put it in their minds that, the opposition will do everything po. From here on, the opposition will do everything to really destroy the image of the government in your minds, in your hearts. Talagang sisirain po ng mga kalaban ng gobyerno. Ang ginagawa ng gobyerno, iano po yan. Ida-downplay nila, i-criticize nila, palalabas nilang palpako ang gobyerno because they have everything to lose, mga kababayan. Because the success of this government, the success of the government in handling this pandemic will literally mean the end of whoever is in the opposition. Wala ho nang mapapala sila kapag tayo at ang gobyerno po ay nagtagumpay. O na ano lang natin, nalagpasan natin tong pandemya na to. The fact na malagpasan po natin to, malagpasan natin tong mga surge in cases, at dumating na ang mga bakuna, lalo na ho yan, alam nyo, parating na mga bakuna. By this week, may darating na 400,000. By the end of the month, may 1 million na darating.
yun.
And tuloy-tuloy na. The government has targeted 70 million of our population, the adult population, 70 million.
70.
70. Oo. The government has targeted by the end of the year that 70 million Filipinos should be vaccinated.
Vaccinated.
And that is the adult population. But they have already ordered, ang tinitingnan pong numero ng government insofar as the actual dosage is 90 million, 92 million to be exact. Dahil they will give an allowance pa for spillage and all. And may programa ho. Even the vaccine rollout program is in place at nakaano po yan talaga, naka-calendar. But of course, mga kababayan, we have to remember that hindi ho tayo ang priority sa bakuna. In fact, tingnan nyo ang worldwide vaccine rollout program ngayon. Kung makikita nyo sa mga internet, ang nakita nyo, ang United States halos parang covered na. Tapos na. But that is a given, di ba? I mean, that is a given. Nauunahin ng mga manufacturing, syempre, on their own. Yung their own people. Kaya ho talagang hindi pa rin dumarating ang bakuna sa atin dahil priority nila, yung sarili nila. Inuna nila. Kaya nga, tapos na ho sila ngayon. So, tayo na ang susunod.
So, in the meantime, Mark, dapat konting paalala, kung pwede lang sana, ay yung ating nag-enforce ng ating mga batas, ng ating mga polisiya, ay, alam mo, Mark, if you ask me, we should impose a heavy fine on people who don't use their masks properly. Because not using your mask properly, it tantamounts to putting another person in danger. Diba? So,
Yeah. I mean, even the di ba, the enforcement of these measures, hindi naman din ang gobyerno natin eh. Masyadong mabait din ang gobyerno natin eh.
oo nga eh, parang naging optional pa nga yung mga,
Di
yung
ba?
mga health standards na
Parang entitled talaga mga tao na pag hindi sumunod sila pa galit di ba? Pero you don't understand, or most would not really would not really think of the repercussion or the consequence na pag hindi ka nagmask, ilan po yung dinadamay mong tao.
Tama.
And 'di ba, kung ikaw rin yung tipong pasaway din na ayaw mo sundin yung measures ngayon na magstay ka muna sa bahay hangga't maaari, o dapat muna work from home, pero pipilit mo pa rin yung gusto mo lalabas. Think about the people you are, endangering, because it's not only yourself, not only the people outside, but even your own family.
Ayun. So, with that, Mark, ang ganda ng ating conversation ngayon. Sana po ay meron kayong mga natutunan sa ating mga pinag-usapan. Yung paalala lang namin ni Mark, of course, is to follow the basic health standards set forth by the DOH, kasi meron pong purpose yung mga pagsuot ng mask. Yung simplified version of that reminder: mask, iwas, hugas. Okay? Mask, iwas, hugas. Iwas ng isang metro, hugas ng kamay as much as you can. Huwag hawakan yung mga pagmumukha ninyo pag naghawak kayo ng mga bagay kasi delikado. At pag nakikipag-usap po tayo sa mga tao, ay siguraduhin may suot kayong mask. Bawal po yung nakababa sa baba, or yung kumpiyansa kayo kasi kausap nyo yung kapatid nyo, pinsan ninyo, barkada, kaibigan, kababata. Hindi po ibig sabihin dahil close kayo, ay wala siyang virus. Hindi po natin alam yan. Wala pong way na malaman natin na walang virus yung kausap natin. Kaya everybody, you should treat as a carrier. And the only way to protect yourself and others is to wear a mask. Wag po nating, we cannot try this enough in that how important this is in our efforts to fight COVID-19 and to bring our economy back, to recover from our economy. Ito na lang isipin niyo, Mark, tell me if you agree. Wearing a mask is equivalent to you getting back your old life.
Yes. True.
Okay? Kung ano yung na-experience mo na sagana dito sa ating bansa, may babalik lang natin yan pag sinunod natin yung mga alituntunin. Lalong-lalo na yung pinaka-importante ang pagsusuot ng mask sa publiko at pag may mga kausap tayo.
Yes, people, if you really want to go back to normal as soon as possible, you have to really abide by and strictly follow po the health and safety protocols. Ini-impose yan ng gobyerno not because of a whim or because uso, but because it is all for your own good and for your own welfare po. Ayan.
Tsaka wag na tayo masyadong pilosopo. Problema sa atin, maraming mga magagaling. Maraming
Alam mo, ang dami-dami yung nag-impose ngayon ng bagong measures, di ba? Wala mo ng dine-in, wala mo tapos yung essential travel. Ang dami pa rin tanong na paano po ba yan? Kami ng boyfriend ko, pwede ba kaming mag-angkas sa bisikleta?
Oo. Yung lumabas na meme na sumikat, yung bawal daw lumabas ng gabi, may curfew daw, ang alas 10 lang. Bakit? Night shift ba yung virus? Mga ganyan klase mga pilosopo. Alam naman natin, 'di ba? Alam naman natin sa gabi nangyayari yung mga tipon-tipon. Pag nagtitipon-tipon, nagiinuman, pag nagiinuman, wala nang pakialam. Pag wala ka ng pakialam, doon ka tinatamaan. Diba? Napakasimple lang ng analogy na yan. Kaya ayaw ng gobyerno na lumabas tayo at nagipaghalubilo sa ating mga kaibigan sa gabi. Yun lang po yung point doon. Tapos, yung pagsuot ng mask sa loob ng kotse. Hindi naman ng mga enforcer kung kapatid mo yung kasama mo sa sasakyan. Pinaka-best way to do it, if you are with somebody in the car and you have, obviously you'll have a conversation in the car, you have to wear a mask just to be safe. Yan.
Ay, nako.
Ayun.
Alright.
So Mark, maraming salamat Mark. Alam ko pagod ka na at napaka-busy mo at nag-ano ka pa, nag-show ka pa kanina sa Pugad Vloggers. So maraming salamat Mark sa iyong panahon.
Maraming salamat, Ron, and maraming salamat po sa lahat ng mga nakinig, sumubaybay sa atin ngayon. And I am so grateful po na nandyan kayo, nakasuporta, and lagi po nakasubaybay sa atin. At sana po, tuloy-tuloy lang nating pagpatuloy na suportahan din ang ating gobyerno. Kailangan po nila ng maigting na assistance sa atin in terms of, yun nga, following the rules and strictly abiding by the guidelines, dahil yun po ang gusto natin, makabalik na tayo sa normal, at kung gusto nating mapabilis ito, supportahan po natin ang mga inisyatibo ng gobyerno. Ron, thank you. Thank you sa Istoryang Futbolero. I really feel as part of this program, I am honored and privileged to be here every now and then. And I look forward to more episodes dito. Salamat.
The best ka talaga Mark. So guys, stay safe Mark, laban lang.
Ingat po tayo